Welcome to VMworld. We're talking about peering over the edge, the future of edge computing. I am Munib Minhazuddin, the Vice President for Edge Computing at VMware. I'm joined by
Pierluca Cedelli, Vice President of Edge at Dell Technologies. It's a pleasure to be here, Munib.
Oh, so we're gonna have some fun, Pierluca. Talking about what's happening at the edge and how they can expect that. So, before we gonna jump started, just make sure that anything we would talk about here is subject to change. Some of the roadmap discussions. We're excited to offer you the vision, but expect that some of that will be changed as we actually bring it to market. With that, let's just jump right in. We're seeing the application deployments are accelerating, and this as well. As you can build out a lot of applications, the nature of applications has evolved quite significantly. But how you build applications today and where they're deployed, it's changing for the tomorrow. We expect a lot of applications increase tomorrow, but the nature of those applications are more business specific, and they are being deployed at the edge. And this has changed in the last 18 months, where employees started working from home. Once that started happening, we saw more applications and processes evolve at the edge. And we're seeing now that the movement of workloads, the build of these workloads at the edge, is significantly surpassed what you'd have anticipated at the in the data center and the cloud. So Pierluca, I guess what are you seeing at the edge? How does this transforming into what IT needs to do?
Absolutely, and I think you touched the point that applications are transforming. So with every time in the area where we see application transforming, the infrastructure need to follow that. And I want to give you some example here of how tangible is this acceleration and how substantial is this acceleration. So when you look at the infrastructure that need to support this application, we know already that 50% or greater of the new infrastructure will be edge by 2023. This is just 22 years from now. So it's amazing acceleration. And by the way, 90% of the new operational process will go from a 20% today to 90% in 2024 at the edge. So in only 3 years. Given that infrastructure deployment take time, and how complex is to do these things, right? We know as today, as you know, Munib, we are in this discussion with all a bunch of customers, and today as well, we see a lot of POC going on. We see a lot of things that they try to adjust. So it's very complex. So the point is, you need to start this journey right now, and this is so important, I think, to us as a company together to be here to really suggest what is the right path to do and how you do that. And with that, I think we already heard a lot about the challenge in the edge, right?
Yeah, Pierluca, the challenges are actually quite different. As some of these early customers, like you mentioned, doing the proof of concepts, are trying to take these applications or workloads they've built in the data center and the cloud and move them towards the edge. It's not easy. It's not, they're finding that they're having to spend 3 to 4 months refactoring, replatforming the applications that they built in the cloud to work on the edge. This is because the attributes are quite different. The application model itself is different. They have to bring in hardware abstraction. They have to bring in, some amount of, state, which they didn't have to care about when they built applications in the cloud. And at one end, so they're having to rewrite that when they're writing these applications at the edge. Same goes for, security. There's very easy security in the cloud and in the data center. We're thinking about protecting through the network. Now it's actually on site. How do you do security very intrinsically and very different? And scalability is huge. You're used to doing, maybe 100 data centers, maybe 500 data centers. That's very rare. But now at the edge, the number of sites are tens of thousands. So how do you go scale this and and do this consistently is a big deal, and a big change that people are thinking. So from your perspective, Pierluca, what are you seeing from what do we need to do at the edge?
Absolutely, at the edge, we really need to be successful in to be able to sustain edge deployment. What this means is the edge is a growing and accelerating market. And as we see, as the app expands to the edge, the infrastructure need to be able to grow, but we think as a Dell technology, altogether that it needs to be in a simplified way. So not creating silos, not creating expansion of certain use case, because at the end of the day, at the edge, the native application, they really answer a question of what is required. So, for example, how you provide faster outcome, efficient profitability, explain and edge outcome. It's very important. But in the same time, as we expand, we need to generate inside where we need that inside. So more compute is moving to the edge, more technology is moving to the edge, like GPU and intrinsic security, and also in our case, for example, collecting multiple stream. But then as you do that, how are you building that building block for consolidate and expand as you're doing? You can't have 1,000 different edge scenario. You need to actually expand. And by the way, with this expansion, when we're speaking about going to the edge, obviously it's a great opportunity for all of us to bring insight and bring things much closer where the things are produced or sell. But also it's bringing a challenge that is an advantage and disadvantage that is in the security challenge. So all of these devices, all of these things, they need to be fleet management controlled and have intrinsic security. So that's where we need to expand. And that's why I think as a Dell technology, together with VMware, all together, we can do this because we have all these three elements to try to simplify our edge. So with that said, I think the other important things is as you have more application coming to the edge, we hear customer, for example, say today, hey, I need only to have 5, 10 application. I need to, but sooner we know because we've been there already, it's a scalable compute is a need. Because you start with 5, then you understand that you can put more on that building block and you can put more and more and more. The edge is almost in the same infancy of when we bring a virtualization at some point, right? A lot of people, they accelerate, as we see, for the edge, but they left the edge place behind in the technology path. So the things is really, as you scale the application, you need to support the dynamic application, the modern application scale. So we need to be have a seamless scale as demand. So scale on demand. Also, the other things that we learn, the technology from a hardware point of view or software point of view, obviously application drive also hardware requirement, the ability to consume new technology faster, not wait anymore for 18, 24 months to adopt new technology in store or something like that, but be able to process very fast this new technology and bring that in the right form factor. And the other important things that I think is really key here is the distributed lifecycle operation. So edge is a distributed architecture. So at the edge span, we need to support not only core data center, core deployment, but very small deployment, but in the same way. So I think that's, Munib, if you want to comment about that, that's really the best that VMware is doing today.
Finally, from an intrinsic security perspective, you want it to be very robust. Security has to be fundamentally zero trust at the edge. You don't have big firewalls in the data centers or, sitting in, very secure network locations in a cloud. At the edge, you're exposed to everything. So you have to have zero trust fundamentals. So this leads to the approach we need to take and how we simplify the edge together. And, if you look at some of those challenges of how we simplify together, you have to have very, easy deployment and fully integrated from the data center to the cloud to the edge. It's need to be consolidated and simplified because you don't have any IT skill sets. It's to be very simple in where it rolls out. Especially it'll be locations like retail stores and manufacturing. You don't have any IT folks who can troubleshoot this. It has to be very simple and scalable. And finally, they are generating a lot of insights to optimize. And, it's this personalization of retail stores, of customers, or, taking predictive maintenance at manufacturing floors. These are generating a lot of, insights into how that data is being processed, giving enterprises the flexibility to move things around and optimize cross-sell, upsell, or do make maintenance of machines pretty rapidly. So these are kind of some of the things to keep in mind. But for that, it needs an approach that's different.
Yeah, and exactly at that. So as we said, we believe that the right approach together is to really building block, and with that building block is an essential piece that it can give you small, large, and medium config, and also can extend yourself to the far edge, right? as Dell, we have an entire portfolio that can extend in the entire thing. So with that, at this VMworld, we are launching an Apex Cloud service with VMware Cloud support. And this is a multi-cloud connectivity. And we talked about that earlier, that is very important to be able to connect, to have the application moving from the cloud to the core to the edge. And with that also, we want to say that we will have more and more announcements coming out from Dell Technologies and VMware together to augment that offering and the solution that we have today. For example, here on this slide, we also have the SDP, that is our streaming data platform, that works in conjunction with the VMware stack. So actually, very, very good partnership together. Also, not only as a partnership, commercial partnership, but from a building blocks that you can put together also from the entire thing. So with that, let's go to the next slide. So if we take something, Munib, that we did together, right, from the manufacturing point of view, that's one of the focus points that we have together. In Dell, we announced manufacturing solutions. So if you look at the bottom, what really comes from Dell is, as I said, things that they can connect from multiple devices. Million of sensors that are out there. What you need to collect data from the sensor, you need a gateway, or you have a production line, you have a commercial latitude laptop, and also on top of that, the Power Edge server that can run the entire or part of the stack. But last not least, big announcement with the VxRail with satellite nodes, where actually you can put a single node in the edge location, and you can have the same management vSphere management for the entire location at your edge in your core. So with that, on top of that, we can also put our manufacturing solution, that they are a solution that we work with definitely some interesting and leader partner to bring the outcome. So what the people, they look for outcome, we bring the outcome, we bring also an entire solidified and connected solution. And on top of that, when you collect all this data, where you store the data, how you can go and look at the historical things with the AI ML, that's our streaming data platform. And top of all of this infrastructure, Munib, I think it comes your really multi-domain control plane. You want to speak a little bit about that?
Of course, I think, on top of that, as I was saying, you want to be able to, build applications, create a catalog of applications you want to run. But when you actually are building that, you want to have access to, multi-cloud services from your data center. You want to create that blueprint of an application, and, that leverages, today we think about it from infrastructure perspective on multi-clouds, but going forward, this could be content services, data services, AI ML services that you want to run. So you want that multi-domain kind of control plane where you can, do these edge services orchestration, create an app blueprint, and have an app catalog that then when you push the button, you can push it out to tens of thousands of sites, and then you can troubleshoot. It's almost Pierluca, think of it as a CI/CD pipeline of applications that you can create, but you're creating these applications by picking them from a multitude of sources, and they're not limited to just infrastructure that we generally think about. These are forward looking for content, data, AI ML services that you can create this plane and then pushed it down to just the infrastructure stack you were talking about. So, that gives you, I would call southbound, a multi-edge feel, and, northbound, a multi-cloud feel. So we can actually deliver services from anywhere to anything.
Yeah, and Munib, I think it's enough for us speaking. We need to actually show that something that is true, right? Because we are very good in telling the story, but I'm very, very proud today to have a customer actually here with us, a common customer, Matt from Oshkosh. And welcome, Matt, to our discussion. I leave you the stage because it's better to hear from a real use case scenario.
Thanks, Pierluca. Oshkosh Corporation built some of the industry's toughest specialty trucks and access equipment. And I lead platform services worldwide as part of our global infrastructure. As we look out across our global manufacturing operations, what do we see? we see a very rapidly evolving application landscape with new solutions every day, things like IoT, sensors, location tracking, AR and wearables, and automated vehicles. These new use cases we find can tax the kinds of infrastructure that historically was deployed at edge sites. And so as we've been provisioning for these new workloads, we've focused on what we think are these key attributes. One, reliability. The VxRail architecture brings us a high availability and the ability to do rolling system maintenance while we maintain the application experience for our end users 24/7. Many in our industry run operations in a lights out mode, which I think you talked about before. So simplified and centralized management is a key capability for us. We just don't have the people all over the world to be local to these sites. So the ability to run these things centrally is key. One of the things we've observed with these new workloads is just the rapid speed of change, the speed with which we're onboarding, evaluating, and evolving these new capabilities really puts us in a position where we need to be able to scale up quickly. When we have a new workload arrive, we just don't have time to re-architect or to forklift, the entire solution. So the ability to add nodes to scale up quickly is very important to us to satisfy the speed with which our internal customers want to move forward. Finally, performance. We want to bring the same performance experience out to our edge that our customers are used to experiencing in our core data centers. Some of the new workloads we're seeing have really demanding I/O or latency requirements. We need to be able to support these just like we would in our large central data centers. And VxRail brings that experience for our customers to the edge. So with that, thanks for the opportunity to share a customer perspective of VxRail at the edge. For more information on Oshkosh Corporation, you can visit www.oshkoshcorp.com. Thanks.
Thank you, Matt. Thank you very much. I think what we see with you, Oshkosh, is considering all the key things will help them to achieve. And this is a fundamental testimony of what we just discussed in this section. So we want to bring you back what we see when we peer over the edge. So Manip, you want to go a little bit about this?
Yeah, absolutely. So, I think as we have spent some time now peering over the edge, key things to take away that, we want all of you to think about is, standardization for scaling. The amount of scaling at the edge is very different to what you've done in the data center and the cloud. I think you need to be prepared to simplify, processes and make sure that, you take a, standardized for scaling and take an enterprise-wide approach and provide that, consistency across from, the data center, the cloud, and the edge. I think that's continuum is, very, very important. And I think, as we've kind of highlighted to you through a lot of examples and learning of early customer adoption, I think some of these are very important for you as, and giving you the agility across all of these domains. You want this truly to be a multi-cloud, multi-edge solution, then you need to have that, good flexibility and, and blur the boundaries and give you very flexible options that you can think about it. But, I think VMware and Dell are, very well positioned for this, but, I think Pierluca, we have a good opportunity. Customers need to think about edge differently, and we can help them through this process.
I think that's really the point. I mean, we've been together for many years, as I said, and we are valuable advocate, and also we can suggest to the customer the right path. Also, the most important things is we want to partner with you guys. So why is very important? The better together is really because we want to work together to offer end-to-end solution, and we've been your advisor. We've been so grateful to have so many customers together that we can adjust and we can expand ourselves to the edge together. When you look at the IT-OT convergence, I think that we didn't touch a lot here, but that's a fundamental thing. We are coming from an IT traditional things. We look into the OT and we look at that conversion. And I think Matt is the testimony of some of that happening in the industry today. So continuing innovating from the edge to the private cloud, to the hybrid VMware and Dell Technologies, they are here to commit to that. And we will see more and more announcement actually to what is going to come out in the near future. Also on this point, we spoke about verticals. Edge is a forming market, as Muni pointed out at the beginning. The application, they are different. When you want to move them to the edge, you need to transform. You need to transform the edge. You need to transform also the way you sell it to the edge, and we propose our solution to the edge. Is all about the outcome. So the industry is very verticalized. You see here a manufacturing solution with Matt and Oshkosh, that I thank you again. But also we will expand to other one. We speak, me and Munip, a lot about retail. It's a business outcome focus, so that's why it's so important to understand this market. And both of us, me, Manip, and the entire Dell Technology and VMware, we are looking at that and understanding better those vertical. And with that, I think also the workload are very important. Understand the workload they going to the edge, the workload they stay at the IT, and the workload that they need to be connected to the cloud. So Munip, with that,
yeah, thank you, Pierluca. I think this has been great. I, totally agree with you. I know we didn't go down in the IoT space, but this is a highly industry-specific solution because, we're starting to blend IT and OT together. So, and we're here together to simplify your edge. And, yeah.
I think a call to action for all of us is, if you need more information, please reach out to us. Yep. We obviously, if you want to learn more about, please go to this page where there is obviously solution that we did together, and also solution that they are pertinent to each one of the company. But really, I want to leave you this message that me and Munip put together, that really it's all about simplify your edge and make sure that you can deploy the things in the easiest possible way, from an hardware perspective, infrastructure perspective, and from a software perspective. So thank you very much, Manip.
Thank you, Pierluca. Thanks, everybody. Please make sure you take your surveys and, give us feedback and contact us if you have more information. This is a very early space. We're here to support you through this journey. Thank you for being with us, and over and out.
Thank you.